Welcome to Building the Future, hosted by Kevin Horick. With millions of listeners a month, Building the Future has quickly become one of the fastest rising programs, with a focus on interviewing startups, entrepreneurs, investors, CEOs, and more. The radio and TV show airs in 15 markets across the globe, including Silicon Valley. For full showtimes, past episodes, or to sponsor the show, please visit buildingthefutureshow.com.
Do you have an app idea that you've been dreaming about but don't know how to actually start building it? Use Bubble. I've been using Bubble for a number of years now. It's an extremely powerful no-code platform that enables you to build, launch, and scale real products without investing thousands of dollars on engineers, designers, or spending time trying to code it yourself. Use Bubble's visual drag and drop tool to create really anything from marketplaces, SaaS products, and so much more. Join over 2 million people, including myself, already using Bubble to launch and grow businesses. Welcome back to the show. Today we have Feras Bashnak. He's the CEO and founder at Ferla Bikes. Feras, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Good to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the show. I think what you're doing is actually really innovative and cool and enabling entrepreneurs. But maybe before we get into all that, let's get to know you a little bit better and start off with where you grew up.
Thank you, Kevin. Well, I was born in a beautiful city, Almaty, Kazakhstan.
Interesting.
I grew up with two loving parents. They always supported my abnormal ideas.
That's key.
Exactly. They always trusted me and my capacity to make my own decision. And I guess this is why I'm here and I'm doing something new. I guess something innovative. Yeah.
Very cool. So walk us through, you went to university. What did you take and why?
So I went to the school, and you'll be probably surprised, Kevin, but I didn't have any favorite subject at high school.
Okay, fair enough.
If it would be probably entrepreneurship studies. Since I was a kid, I was like dreaming about having a business, and truly believe that every school must have this program nowadays. I think it's more like a mindset that helps to develop skills to create and build what society wants.
Sure.
But actually, I got my degree in hospitality and restaurant management in Switzerland. And back in the days, actually, I noticed my interest in the hospitality business, so I pursued that. So yes, I got my degree in hospitality and restaurant management.
Okay, so what got you passionate about that at an early age?
So, the hospitality is very unique environment. It's pretty much you get to see all side of the business. When it comes to F&B, or when it comes to accounting, when it comes to events. So I think that's something attracted me, because I don't like working in the environment where everything is static.
Okay.
I do like new things, and I do see. I saw back then that was the best way to kind of see myself um, in different departments, in different type of structures, and I think that's what made me going that route.
Got it. Okay. So you get out of school, walk us through your career up until founding Ferla.
Sure. My first job was actually pretty funny one. It was pretty intense. I work in the two-star Swiss Michelin back then mountain resort restaurant.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was fun. The hours were long, and the work was really demanding. I was actually doing a cross training in the kitchen department. I love cooking since then, and I do that pretty often.
Okay.
I was doing from peeling a bunch of potatoes to preparing elegant dishes. Man, it wasn't easy. But,
Sure.
in the end, seeing happy faces made it all worthwhile, I guess. Um, and if I tell nowadays that I work in a Michelin star restaurant, people say, "Wow." So
Totally.
that's
That's a huge
something.
deal.
Absolutely, absolutely. Back then it was something.
Okay. So walk us through the rest of your journey and then actually coming up with the company idea, and then what made you actually decide to go for it?
That's a really good question, Kevin. I launched couple business projects here in United States when I moved actually here,
Okay.
and I was always looking to different avenues that can actually change the society, help the society, and actually deliver something good for society. That was my main goal. Obviously, I tried many things that slowly lead to that. And that's how I guess I created the Ferla Bikes company. It's if you want, I can talk about our mission a bit.
Sure.
Maybe that will give you some idea. So our mission is, it's since day number one, it still remains the same. We want to give every young entrepreneur an opportunity to start their own business at very affordable cost. Imagine when I came to United States as an immigrant after completing my education in hospitality and restaurant. My first dream was like, okay, I'll open my own restaurant.
Right.
Um, and then I started facing so many obstacles. One was, in fact, the main obstacle was renting a brick and mortar location, and not just renting, but actually renovating and making sure it goes according to their standards, standards, health department standards. And that I started doing research and I realized that man, it's expensive. I like, what do I need to do to afford that at the beginning? So that's how I got first depressed, I would say, in a way, or disappointed that my dream probably won't happen really soon. So I started thinking, like how I can change this. And nowadays, even though we're doing business with many enterprises companies, I still believe that, young entrepreneurs are the future of the economy and they deserve that support. So that support that was, came as something that I wanted for myself first. And then I decided to distribute that to society. Um, on another hand, our mission is to reduce impact on the environment. That's a big thing for me. Very, um, I'm very big about this, and we're doing our best actually to reduce carbon footprint. As an example, our vending bikes and cars are equipped with a solar power energy instead of a gasoline generator. So just picture yourself a bicycle with the two wheels in the front, one wheel in the back, and it has pretty much a cafe equipment um, on the bike. And of course, we need to power this machine, this bicycle vending cart. So we came up with different solutions, such as a solar power energy instead of gasoline generator, what food trucks are using nowadays. And we have self-contained system for the water system, and we have a refrigeration unit that it's actually based on our customers' feedback. We custom design our refrigerator slash freezer that run out of the battery. So you don't need again to carry with you a source of power. You have everything in one place. So our bikes and cars run on the sun
That's
and body
cool.
power.
Very
So
cool. Okay, keep
yeah,
going. Sorry.
no. I was just going to add a bit, um, moving to a consumer side, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh, just so we started from the commercial side. Um, I believe it's time for mobility to be innovative and accessible for people. And our main mission when it comes to consumer side of a business is to bring more people and families on electric cargo bikes. And our cargo bikes are actually more than just a bicycle. And I believe it's already changed the way people think about the transportation for many of our clients. We're getting a lot of calls, and lately, especially when they tell us, we need a couple more days to sell our second car so we can get your bike. And I was like, wow, imagine it's happening. So Kevin, imagine no gas and no insurance, no parking tickets. And
Right.
again, most importantly, reducing impact on the environment. Getting back to shape is no less important.
Yeah. No. Fair enough. Right. Like, if because I guess I'm looking at the picture right now, actually, but for people listening, can you explain the cargo bike without a visual representation, and then maybe people can go look at the website too.
Kevin, I hope you can help me to identify that problem to actually explain people what does cargo bike means, because when I'm meeting with someone or hosting an event, they're like, "What is this? What are you talking about?"
Sure.
So it's I would say picture a bike and try to convert into SUV. This is how I would say. So again, it's a two wheel in the front, one wheel in the back. We call it tricycle. You have two benches, you have two seats where it can fit up to four kids. You have four seat belts. It's pretty much a vehicle um, on three wheels, and it's fully electric. So this is, I guess, without looking at the picture, the best way, of course, will be going to our website, ferlafamilybikes.com, to see what we're talking about here.
Sure. Yeah, like it looks like a big kind of basket which houses people and has a seat, or
Right,
like a big wagon type thing, right? But so
right.
when you say electric on this cargo consumer bike, is the like it's basically like an electric bike to help me get up the hills of San Francisco, for example?
Yeah, it will certainly will. Some of our models are designed to tackle San Francisco hills. We all know that they are pretty steep.
Yeah.
And yes, it's actually an electric motor that helps you to pedal.
Sure.
It has three options. You
Okay.
can just use a motor itself. We call it a throttle. Just picture a moped or a motorcycle. You have a throttle, you just crank it and you go. You don't even have to pedal. And the option that I personally prefer is the pedal assist, when you are still required to pedal, but a motor actually helps you to um, to move the bike.
Got it. Very cool. Can you maybe give some examples of some of the commercial bikes, because they're quite versatile and you could do probably a bunch of different things, and you could probably even do a bunch of custom stuff that maybe nobody's even thought of yet with your bikes. Is that fair to say?
Kevin, you're really familiar with our product. I'm glad you asked this question. It's exactly one of our main challenge was, especially back then. I personally didn't know where to pursue. At first, I thought we'll be doing a coffee bike slash an ice cream bike, and that's what will our focus will lean towards.
Right.
But then we start getting emails, requests. Like, I'll give you a couple examples.
Sure.
Tiffany and Co. reach out to us and say, we need a cart, we want to put in Beverly Hills and right in the front of our store, and we will be serving a cupcakes from it. I'm
Oh,
like, sure,
interesting.
we'll do it. We'll paint it in your color, and we did it. Later on, we got a call from young entrepreneurs. They had a beautiful startup for a shoe company, and they were in New York. Of course, they could not afford brick and mortar location, and somehow they needed to display these
Oh,
shoes.
interesting.
So what they did, they actually took our Grande bike. It's our largest um, bike that we carry, and it has so much potential in storage wise. And they actually display over 10 different models, including stock that they can actually sell right on the spot. And they were in Manhattan, like, and they could just afford, just to find any corner, get a license, and it's allowed because, you're just on the crosswalk. And they actually, were able to launch that company. Otherwise, I don't see how. Maybe yes, online, but their focus was actually to interfere with the customers. Another great example that I had, it's actually the dream became true for them. It's a couple. Um, he was from the IT world, and she is a nurse.
Okay.
So they're from San Diego. They visit us, and they wanted to open their catering business. And they're doing very unique donuts. And you'll be surprised, but right now they are so popular in the San Diego district that every single corporate event must have them. I am seeing them right now serving Verizon,
Oh, wow.
T-Mobile, like,
The big
all
brands, yeah.
big brands. And it's so great to see that, because this bike is the main um it's like it's the main feature of their business, because it's actually um it's something new. And people, they don't want to see tables anymore. They want something innovative, like surprises. And this is what we're doing here. And I think the lastly that actually, like, surprised me to the point that I'm not surprised anymore. It's where we got a call, and they asked us to build a bike for COVID testing facility. So the bike actually will be handling that procedure. I was like, okay, we did everything. Now we need to send the bike to the moon.
Interesting. So the one thing that, just again, I'm assuming the shoe example you gave, and you could do it with fruit or other kind of things, is you could basically have like shelves on a bike to showcase products and ideas, and on your website you have it with different fruits on different kind of levels of shelves. Why I mention it is just because I think that, just to give people another idea of how they could leverage your bikes, or one of your bikes.
Absolutely. Nowadays we can do anything. It's funny to say, but our customers are truly our engineers, and we always hear them, and we can do anything right now, from the shelves to refrigeration systems, solar powered, different branding options. So pretty much it's applicable for every industry you can think of. Either it's a real estate, or it's a mall business, or it's a hospitality. We work with many hotels, in fact. So yeah, pretty much there is no limitation on what we can do with our product.
So it's actually a good segue, because I was going to talk about just your cart. So obviously you mentioned a mall. I may or may not want or be allowed to ride a bike around a mall, but I still might want to, maybe set up a business inside or outside somewhere, um, that I don't need to, pedal. So walk us through, how did you come up with the cart idea, and give us maybe some use cases for that you've seen.
Kevin, I think it's another brilliant question, and I'm so excited you asking this because it's actually bringing my memories back. Um, in fact, I'm so proud to say that we do listen our customers. I
Okay.
remember the lady came to our showroom and she was looking at the bike and she said, Ferris, to be honest, I do really love your concept, but I have a limited space. And is there is any way possible you can cut this frame and just make me a cart? I'm like, listen, but this is our concept. I mean, we came to the concept of having a bicycle cart, not the cart itself. I don't think so we can actually do that. But, after like having a conversation with her for maybe 30 minutes, she convinced me. And I said, you know what? I'll do it for you. But only one requirement. We have to leave a wheel, like a decorative wheel on the card, because it has to remind people that we came from a bicycle industry and we are like, this is our story. She said, fair enough, I love it. Let's do it. So we actually designed that for her. And guess what, Kevin? It became a top seller. Um, it's hard right now to picture what sells more, but I would say like cards eh, they became so popular. So we probably sell 50% of the cars and 50% of the bikes altogether. So this is really fun story.
Interesting. Well, and I guess the reality is it's the cost to entry is even cheaper than a food truck, right? For somebody that's looking to get into maybe of the food space, or if you're just looking to launch a physical product, then you could easily just pick up a cart, right? It's so much cheaper than your example earlier about like a storefront or even selling online, right? Like sometimes you need something that
Right.
it's in person, right? And so, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. But I want to get back to something that I was reading about, is the inspiration kind of behind the whole thing was watching somebody struggle. Is that correct?
It is absolutely correct. At the same time, when I was a little bit down, understanding that it's not as easy as it seems to open my own restaurant, it's so interesting how you touch back on food trucks. My second avenue was looking at the food truck, and I actually went to several manufacturers of the food truck business here in Los Angeles, and I realized, oh man, it's like another 100,000
Yeah.
right up front just to get something used. And yes, if you want something brand new, then it's probably another $300,000. I was like, oh wow. So I was just sitting in the park, um, meditating, thinking about what next I should do. And I saw a woman struggling, pushing this old, heavy metal cart up the hill. It made me feel so bad that she had to do that. So I ran away. I helped her. It was a standard fruit cart that we used to see here in California. And I'm like, it has to be something else. I mean, why don't they make a motor? Why they don't create one with the motor? What can be done here? It's just so ugly sorry to say that, but it's reality, and it's heavy. Um, so it's just stay in my head. I came home, I started researching. I found similar concept in Europe, and I'm like, okay, this is something I should look into. And this is how everything started. Our first model was pretty much just a box
Okay.
and three wheels. And then later on, we implemented a sync system because obviously you need to um, be able to wash things in your hands for the hygiene. And that's where, yes, my hospitality comes in.
Right.
And later on, we started integrating refrigeration system, coffee system, and etc. And the idea was to be able to provide an electric motor, so that it's easy to push, it's easy to maneuver around, and that's what was we were able to accomplish as well. I think the society wants new things, right? All the time. It's just you gotta to create, and they will be happy uh, to get them. And I think that's what we that's what we tried to accomplish here, and I think we did.
Very cool. So, how did you build early prototypes and then eventually iterate on those prototypes and come up with other products? Did you hire an engineering firm? How did you fund all this? Like, walk us through actually getting these things made.
That's a good question. As I mentioned previously, I found a similar concept in Europe,
Okay.
and we didn't create entirely the concept. What we did, we took this concept and we perfected. So we took an existing design that was available back in even Indonesia, and actually in general Asia. It's very common that they sell out of the bikes, out of the tricycles,
Okay.
and it was again back then, and still they producing. Again, it's just a metal frame. And what we did, we focus on the design aspect and
Okay.
functionality of it. So the idea was, okay, we have this concept already, but how we can make it appealing to customers, how we can make it functional, and how we can add all these features like electric systems. So I actually was able to find a factory that were specializing in different frames for different solutions like push carts. And I took off. I went there, and with bunch of engineers, we're like, okay, let's try it. Let's try to create something. And of course, the first model was a disaster. We pretty much received a frame with bunch of bolts, nuts, and we tried to put it together. It was a disaster, but didn't give up. It took us several years to develop what we wanted to develop, and what we could proudly present to the crowd. um, it was a lot of hard work and dedication. I think back then it was not about money at all. It was just something about doing great for community, bringing a new um, concept. It was that was, I guess, moving forward. If we will have a chance talking about the challenges, that was one of the thing is proving proving this concept wasn't easy at the beginning, of course.
Sure. Well, yeah, we can keep talking about challenges. And then do you want to work in how you funded this all? Did you raise money? Did you self fund?
It's actually self-funded
Okay.
till now. So I saved a bit. As I mentioned, I had a few ventures before. I had
Yep.
my own catering company, and I was very preserved when it comes to money. And I knew that I would have to use it for something big in the future, and it was self-funded. And of course, we started very small. I had such a small warehouse at the beginning. I remember it was a time when I had to actually pay my rent using my credit cards. At some point, my credit cards went like completely full because that's what it took me to get where we are now. And I just, had to pay the rent, had to pay. I didn't pay myself for so many years, just because we couldn't afford that. It was a very interesting journey. Now I'm smiling, but back then, um, yeah, doing something new, it's not always easy, but it's worth it for sure, for sure.
100% agree. I'm curious, what other challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them?
So, as I mentioned, the challenge was to proving the concept was the most challenging part of the business.
Fair.
It was a new idea in US market that, which society never seen before. They never tried it.
Right.
And one of the biggest challenge was finding the right target audience and actually understanding their needs. Uh, we had many obstacles throughout the time. One of the obstacle was actually dealing with the health department
Okay,
for the
why is that?
long period of time, because the set of laws were designed for restaurants at first, and
Oh,
then exactly, and then they slowly move and create exceptions for food trucks. So it took them probably, I would say, 50 years to, to accept changes and to create those exceptions for the food trucks. So when I came to them, we had meetings with the chief of health department. I made several presentations. It was actually like a full size presentation, explaining, improving the benefits of these carts and bikes. And they were all looking at me. They were happy that I came to them, I knocked their door. But unfortunately, it was not so easy to change those laws and regulations. They were telling me that they need a certain amount of water, they need 3 compartments sink plus one hand wash sink, and that's what is standard for the food truck. And I told them, listen, I understand that, but this is a bike. Like, we can't actually make the same rules and regulations and transfer them to the bike. Otherwise, it will be just a bike station with just the sinks, and it won't have any space for any equipment whatsoever. So it took me several years, and again, I didn't give up. It was decline after decline, and finally, we were able to prove them that our bikes are much cleaner. It's just a different level to compare with any street vending that were available back then in Los Angeles district. We start from California, and then we got licensing almost in every state now. Um, so that was the main challenge. But as I mentioned, we truly believe that our customers made us successful. The right direction they gave us, the right requirements that they provided us, and yeah, they are our main engineers. That's all I can say, and I'm so grateful to have customers like ours that gave us a direction and gave us what they want. And with those requirements, we went and we never stopped pursuing our concept to government agencies. And finally, now we are collaborating with them, and we are able to get our cars and bikes licensed.
Oh, very cool. I'm curious because people have to be thinking, how did you not give up dealing with the government? Because that's got to be a nightmare.
Kevin, 100% with you. I'm 100%. And to be honest, I don't want to say that I never had a thought of giving up,
Okay, fair enough.
and I had quite often. And remember the time when my dad came to help me. I was pretty down, and I had all these things lined up: the warehousing, the assembly process, the customers, marketing. Everything was on me. I was a solo person, and I'm like, you know, since we're a very close family, I said, Dad, Mom, I don't think so. I can do it anymore. Like, it's just not working.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice concept. It's a beautiful concept, but like, it's so many obstacles. And I remember the dad told me, Ferris, son, let's have a sleep, and let's discuss this tomorrow. Let's have another day. Let's oversleep this. And uh the next day, I was waking up, and I'm like, I have to push again. I have to try at least one more day. And something was brightening up. Something was um you know giving me that hope that things will get better. And it's actually did. But it was many, many times when I was like, you know what, I think I'm done. I think I'm not gonna proceed that pursue that further. And when it comes to house department, at some point I told them, listen, um, you won't let me stop selling these cards. And there's two options for you, pretty much. Let's make them all legal, and people will pay the fees. And you will see a lot more cards, a lot more revenue going towards you. Um, and you will see happy faces. Um, and you'll give a lot of opportunities for young people, for any people that wants to do the street food um, business. Or I'll still sell them, and I'll still give that opportunity for people, but then you'll have so many people without licenses on the street.
Right.
Because yeah, it's that's the reality. And I try to explain that most of their people, even nowadays, they don't have licenses, and they are still selling because that's all they do. That's their life. They have to feed the kids, they have to feed the family, and you won't stop them. I mean, they
Yeah, fair.
legalized the street vending business. Why don't make it accessible to anyone? Let's just set a new parameters, new set of regulations. We'll follow them, but just give us an opportunity. So
Interesting.
yeah, it just the timing. I think the time and being patience played a big role.
Sure. So how did you get the word out? Obviously, you're in Southern California. You could probably just go to the trendy spots, but how did you get the word out and actually get some interest in the product?
Yeah, we actually sell nowadays globally, and
Very
one of
cool.
our main market is East Coast.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, you'll be surprised why. The weather isn't as nice as in California, and but the culture is there. You
Ah,
know,
yeah, fair.
yeah, and mm, you know, actually, people were looking for different solutions. In fact, one of our main customer base is actually marketing agencies.
Ah,
Experiential
yeah.
marketing people are striving. They're so hungry to find new concept that they can present to their customers. For example, we did a campaign for a very big company, and they were looking for a solution to so people can try their product. And they placed in the Central Park our cards, and they were able to distribute um, their uh, their product. So in a very nice and appealing way, and that was very important for them to find that solution, and we were the solution, and we are the solution nowadays. So we are able to create different designs, and we are very strict on, and we are very open to place the customer's logo. It's not required to have a Ferla logo on the card if you want to fully brand your own um, card or a bike. So I think people are looking, and that's how they find us on the internet. We're pretty strong on social media, and um, like a search optimization. So if you will type coffee cart, I'm sure you'll see us organically on the first page of the Google. And that's we're also working hard on this. So yeah, we want to make sure that people see us, and young entrepreneurs see this opportunity.
Interesting. Uh, so obviously there's a bit of a range, but can you give us some costs on a couple of models, or the range of costs on getting a bike
Of
or a
course,
cart?
Kevin. Yeah, you'll be probably surprised how affordable it is. Our original price was in the mid of 4,000 to 5,000 ish,
Okay.
but then we start getting emails and requests if there is a way to remove some equipment to make the cart or bike even less expensive. And I thought, okay, you know what? Like, that's our mission, and we have to fulfill this request. So we actually created a bike. It's called a Ferla Mini. It's right under $2,000.
Wow.
Um, you can pretty much um, get you start your own business investing um, maybe right around $2,000-3,000, and you're ready to go. Uh, so we that's our inspiration point was, and yet we don't have much margin out of that product. And it's actually same goes for a consumer side. We have one product that it's it's solely inspirational, and we want to keep that, and we don't mind if we're not making much profit out of this specific product, but that's our mission. Of course, our products on the commercial side can go as high as 10,000 and more, but that really depends on what type of equipment you would like to have on your cart or tricycle.
Sure, but that's still very affordable, especially for the big brands that you guys work with, like 10 grand to Tiffany of the world is nothing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a drop in the bucket. Yeah. Uh, Very cool, man. So we're kind of coming to the end of the show, but is there anything else that you want to mention or that you learned along the way that you would like to pass along?
Absolutely. I guess I would just wanted to say about our next business venture.
Sure.
Um, we became pioneers in food and beverage bikes and cards. Uh, and we actually, in 2019, launched our consumer product. But I don't want to stop there. We currently developing e-cargo bike solution for last mile delivery services, and we truly believe that we can bring significant benefits for both logistic companies and the customers. Again, eliminating carbon footprint, traffic congestion, perhaps parking restrictions. That remains our goal, and we are open and we considering avenue for raising funds.
Okay.
Our company was profitable since year one.
Wow.
Yep, and but right now we're looking forward to scale our business globally. We have a huge demand from Europe, and we're looking to expand. So I guess that's what I wanted to add to our beautiful conversation. Um, and as an advice for young entrepreneurs, I wanted to add, if you don't mind, Kevin,
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
it's focus on your passion. And I think as a young entrepreneur, it's important to focus on something you're truly passionate about. And this will give you the motivation and drive uh, that you need to succeed, even during hard times that I experience. I think that passion is the key. If you don't like what you do, it won't go far.
Uh, no, I think that's actually really good advice. And I want to add something that you mentioned earlier. Um, when you were talking to your family and your father about kind of giving up or not. And it's something that I've really helped me along my journey. And it doesn't have to be family. It could be a friend. It could be a coworker. It could be whoever. Just having somebody else to bounce ideas off and almost like talk you off of or out of quitting, right? Unless like you actually should for whatever reason, but
Right.
sometimes you need that extra person to say like, no, let's talk about this before you give up and actually decide. Because in your case, if you would have given up, you wouldn't be where you are today, right? Or you would be on a
100%.
different path, right?
I agree with you, Kevin. We tend to overthink, you
100%.
know, and this is our brain, and this is the way we are, all of us. And for someone that calm you down and to stop that overthinking is very crucial. So I'm 100% with you, Kevin, here. Having that support, girlfriend, friend, uh, boyfriend, family, it's so important. It's so important.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people they don't want to talk to other people about them potentially failing, right? And that's I don't I get that because I was in the same boat, and now that I gotten over that fear, like it's crazy to have that fear, but I was in that place where I used to have that fear, and it just doesn't matter. And you ought to obviously pick somebody to have these conversations with that you trust and whatnot. And I maybe don't tell everybody, but the reality is you could probably find somebody that will, talk you off that cliff of quitting, right?
I agree with you.
So
100%. There is a people around us who will always support, and always will be both. They will be happy when you are succeeding, and they will be there for you if you need a support. It's so important to express any feelings that you're experiencing throughout this time.
Totally. But we're coming to the end of the show, so how about we close with mentioning where people can get more information about yourself and any other links you want to mention?
Thank you, Kevin. Yes, we're very actively doing business online. You can find us on all social media platforms. Instagram will be one of it, and you can find us for our commercial products. It will be very simple, Ferla Bikes. And on our consumer side, our family bikes, it's a Ferla Family Bikes. If you want to visit our website, ferlabikes.com for commercial, and ferlafamilybikes.com for our consumer products such as cargo bikes. Thank you so much, Kevin. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, and just for the URL, it's ferlabikes.com.
Correct. .com.
Perfect, man. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be on the show, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It's been a pleasure. I enjoyed it so much.
Me as well. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Please visit our website at buildingthefutureshow.com to join the free community, sign up for our newsletter, or to sponsor the show. The music is done by Electric Mantra. You can check him out at electricmantra.com and keep building the future.